Hello everyone, TimeToGrind here, and today I wanted to talk about Griftlands. And Griftlands is a new early access game by Klei Entertainment, and they're the people that made Don't Starve and a bunch of other awesome games. And they took the roguelite deck building experience from say Slay the Spire and completely innovated it in a huge amount of ways and just made their own awesome unique game. And it's a game that I did not know that I needed. And it is an extremely narrative-driven deck-building roguelite where you actually build two completely separate decks at once. So you have your normal, battle deck that you use when you're fighting people or monsters or whatever, but you also have a negotiation deck that you use to argue with people and convince them to do things that you want them to do. And so throughout the game, you're constantly getting new cards and forming strategies around certain synergies and combos and upgrading your cards. But the combat itself works kind of similar to how it would in Slay the Spire. You can see what enemies are planning on doing, and you can either deal damage to them or gain block, and obviously that there's a ton of unique mechanics in this game, and just a ton of unique combos and strategies and synergies, but at a base level, the combat kind of works similar to Slay the Spire. The negotiation deck, however, is its own crazy unique thing. You use this deck when you're trying to convince someone of something, so whether you're trying to bribe someone to give you more money for a quest that you just completed, or you're trying to convince some NPCs to help you fight a boss, you end up using your negotiation deck. And so there's Resolve, which is pretty much health, but for, the negotiations, and you don't lose if you run out of it, you just lose the negotiation you're in, and then you can't really negotiate anymore until you get it back up. And so throughout the negotiation, you'll play different cards that can, give you new arguments that are will do passive things or, help you in certain ways, and the enemies will play their own arguments, and you can attack their arguments or attack their main, kind of resolve argument health pool, and you can also, block your own arguments. And I am really oversimplifying all of this because this game is really in depth, and it feels like sometimes you make these 500 IQ plays, and it's mainly just because there's also so many unique mechanics in this game. So it's a little overwhelming when you first start playing, but eventually once you kind of start getting the hang of it and everything like that, you'll grasp it pretty quickly. It's just there's a lot of unique mechanics in this game and a lot of things that this game does that really no other game does, so there is kind of a learning curve to it. Enemies, both in negotiations and in combat, have unique mechanics that you have to play around. There's so many different cards to create drastically different strategies, and there's also a lot of cards that you can only find from certain events. And the next big part that I want to talk about that makes this game just revolutionary to me is the fact that it is this huge narrative story-based roguelite. So each run you play, it takes about an average of 5 hours to complete. And I'm sure once you play a ton and you start skimming past a lot of the dialogue, it will be shorter, but at least at the beginning, a run takes about 5 hours to complete. And it's just this huge narrative game that really feels like your own choose-your-own adventure game, but in a roguelite fashion. And so there's two different characters right now in early access. There will be three eventually with the full launch. But not only do they have their own, completely different and unique play styles and cards and, relics and stuff like that, but they also have their own entire stories and locations. So the first character is named Sal, and she is a bounty hunter that got sold into slavery, and she, was in there for several years, and she finally got out, and she came back for, revenge and just to see what's going on. And so you have this whole 5-day plot that is, telling her whole story. There's a second character named Rook, and he's a spy that finds himself kind of between two different sides. You have this oppressive, kind of government slaving-esque, kind of group, and then you have this resistance group that's trying to start a revolution and all this stuff, and you have a whole separate 5-day plot for him and what happens there. And in these campaigns you can work for different sides, and you can make friends or enemies with every NPC in this game. You can kill some people and completely remove them from the story, and it's really dynamic. So as an example, if you kill a bandit leader in Rook's campaign, one of his allies will end up hating you, and you get a debuff for having her hate you. Also, sometimes you'll be able to save people, like they'll be getting attacked, and if you save their lives, they'll end up loving you and giving you these passive buffs that, just apply to you for the, rest of the run. And if someone likes you, and if you're in like a negotiation or a fight in their area, you'll actually get helped out by them. And so also, if someone doesn't like you and you get in a fight or a negotiation in their area, they'll actually help your enemies. And so just, it makes the entire world feel super dynamic and responsive, and it just really feels like this living, breathing, choose your own adventure campaign, but in a roguelite deck building game, which is just insanely cool. Like, I can't tell you how satisfying and awesome it is to experience all of this. And kind of going back to all the super unique things in this game, there's a ton of random events that can give you super unique random cards or graphs. And graphs are pretty much like relics that kind of do different passive things in Slay the Spire that can either help your negotiation side of things or your combat side of things in just a bunch of different ways. There's also, a ton of different rarities of these graphs, and there's also, like I said, unique ones that you can only get from quests or random events. And I also kind of want to talk about how you upgrade cards in this game, because I really, really, really like how it is done. So every card has a bar on them, and every time you play them, you progress the bar a little bit. And so normally after you play a card, like anywhere from, 6 to, maybe 10 times, depending on the card, it actually gets upgraded, and so it'll offer you like 2 different upgrade paths, and I think there's like 3 or 4 different things that could been chosen from, but you get to choose one of 2 different ways for it to get upgraded. And I just really like how you just upgrade your cards by playing them a lot, and I really like that aspect. It makes it feel super satisfying, because every time you play a card, even if it's not super optimal, you still feel like you're making progress to upgrading it. And also, even just how you gain more health or resolve, I really, really like. And so you do it by either drinking or eating in taverns, and it costs a little bit of money, but it adds these cards in your deck that, if you're drinking to, gain some more resolve, you'll get like a drunk and a tipsy card that do absolutely nothing, but they're cards that you have to play in order to completely remove them from your deck. Otherwise, you'll keep drawing them, and they're just these completely dead cards. And so it's a really cool way to kind of do it, but make you think about, oh, do I actually need to gain some health? I don't want to flood my, deck or whatnot. You can also get pets and upgrade them, or hire mercenaries to fight with you. You can also just buy a ton of really cool and unique items and cards. There's also a lot of cards that are really powerful, but they break after like a use or 2 uses or 3 uses. And I really like that mechanic, actually, because there's a lot of, say if you kill a boss, it'll give you this super powerful like weapon that it'll break after 2 times. So it's another way to introduce these really powerful cards without like breaking the game. And so for both characters, it takes around 5 hours, like I said, to beat the campaign at first, which in itself is already like 10 hours of, gameplay. And if you still want to keep playing more, there's actually like Ascension Levels that make the game harder and harder and harder, that you unlock, by beating the previous one, just like, Slay the Spire. And that gives you just a ton of time to spend, because I think there's like 15 Ascension Levels. The game takes about like, probably once you start doing well, it'll probably take 3 or 4 hours to beat. So just a ton of content in that. And so you also unlock more cards and cosmetics for the characters just by playing them and, gaining experience. And there's also actually a Brawl Mode, which is kind of like a faster paced game mode that has you drafting a deck pretty immediately and, doing it at a faster pace. And you just kind of fight random enemies or negotiate with random enemies. And right now there's only a draft mode for Sal, but obviously one will be added eventually. For the other characters, it is early access. And so just overall, I think this game is incredible. I think the story-based and dialogue-driven world this game has to offer is one of the coolest and most unique things I have seen a roguelite do. And it really, it revolutionizes what a roguelite can be, because traditionally they're these games that, the runs are pretty short and, you just keep doing a lot of them over and over. But this is one of the first times I've seen where it's like, no, we're going to make a like campaign-driven roguelite. And I really, really like that. The art style and animations are really great. The music is amazing. The variety and just sheer amount of unique events and unique items and cards that you can get from like completely random things are really fun and just keep the game fresh. I will say though that there is a ton of progression in this game that I've talked about, hundreds of hours of it if you were going to try to do all of the Ascension levels and, get all the unlocks and everything like that. But I think personally it might start getting a tiny bit repetitive after you play like the campaign, 2 or 3 times for each character. Because for me at least, a big part of the game is experiencing the story and seeing kind of what happens. And, after the first 2 or 3 times, you could have a lot of uniqueness because you can side with different people, make friends with different people, kind of make drastically different, choices that you made in previous games. But, once you do that a bunch, I could see it maybe getting a tiny bit repetitive. But I mean, at that point, that's already like 30, 40 hours of content for like a $14, dollar game. Plus there's a third character on its way. So, even if you only play the campaign one time or, a handful of times per character, that's still a lot of content. And so I think it's maybe something that doesn't have as much replayability value as other games, but it still has a ton of content in it, and it's just super unique. And if they end up selling more characters down the road as DLC, every time they release a character, I can totally see everybody buying that because it's own like 5-hour campaign at the very least. And so one last thing I want to talk about is also, it seems like the first time you play the kind of first campaign, it is like relatively easy. You don't have to worry about losing too bad. There's also like a mechanic where if you die once per kind of day, you can actually get revived at the beginning of that day and kind of have a do-over, but only once. So, you can't abuse it or anything like that. So, don't worry about like, oh, it's a 5-hour game, but it's a roguelite. So am I going to keep losing progress? So that's kind of nice to know. And so if you just want to play, the campaign once or twice for each character, you can do that and still have a ton of fun. But, I'm looking forward to the third character for this game, and I will just say this is just hands down a must-buy for any roguelite or deck builder fan, and just anyone that wants to try out this crazy, unique, and awesome game that I feel like has not done before. So definitely go out and buy it. But if you have played this game or just, from watching gameplay of it, I would love to know your guys' thoughts on it in the comments down below. Love talking with you guys and, try to respond to every comment. And if you enjoyed this video, then consider leaving a like down below and subscribing to see more content. New videos come out about once or twice a week, just on a wide variety of games. So, definitely subscribe for those in the future. And if you guys are having a great day today, I hope you continue having a great day. If you guys aren't having a great day, I hope you guys start having a great day. But either way, guys, I hope you guys have a great rest of the day. See you guys next time.